I used to believe love was something you earned by being good, by being quiet, by being easy to keep. But the truth is, I wasn't afraid of being unloved. I was afraid of being left. Hassan, I called from the bathroom, staring at the 2 pink lines like they were a death sentence. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the test. Can you come here? He appeared in the doorway in his work shirt, tired eyes softening the moment he saw my face. What happened? Are you okay? I swallowed, forcing air into my lungs. Just come. He stepped closer, his brows pulled together. Ayesha, you're scaring me. I held out the test. For 1 second, he didn't understand. Then his eyes widened like someone turned on a light inside him. No way? I nodded, but my throat was tight. It's positive. He stared at it, then at me, then back at it, like it might disappear if he blinked. After 2 years, his voice cracked. He covered his mouth with his hand. I watched him fall apart in the most beautiful way, and it made me feel sick. He grabbed my shoulders. Say it again. I'm pregnant, I whispered. He laughed, a broken, disbelieving laugh, and pulled me into his arms. Allah is so kind. I stood there stiff, my arms trapped between us, my heart beating like it was trying to escape my body. Because I knew something Hassan didn't. This baby wasn't his. It was Bilal's. Bilal, with his careless smile and his "it's just one night" voice. Bilal, who had returned to my life like a poison I willingly drank. I could still feel the shame of that night on my skin, like dirt that wouldn't wash off. Hassan pulled back and cupped my face. Why are you crying? I touched my cheeks, wet. I'm just happy. I lied, and the word tasted bitter. He kissed my forehead like I was sacred. My Ayesha, you did it. I wanted to scream. I didn't do anything. I ruined everything, but I smiled. I smiled because Hassan looked like a man who had been starving, and I had just placed food in his hands. We had been distant lately. Not cruel, not loud, just cold in a quiet way, like a heater that stopped working, and we both pretended the house wasn't freezing. Every month the same routine. Hassan, maybe next time. Me, Insha'Allah. And every month, disappointment sitting between us at dinner like an extra guest. Now his eyes were shining again. He looked younger. Hope made him handsome. I'm going to tell Amy, he said suddenly, already reaching for his phone. My stomach dropped. No. He paused. Why not? I forced myself to breathe. Not yet. Let's confirm with the doctor first. He studied me. Hassan was gentle, but he wasn't stupid. You're acting strange. I grabbed his hand. I'm scared. Please. His expression softened instantly. That was Hassan's weakness. He believed my fear. Okay, he said, kissing my knuckles. We'll do it your way. I nodded, but inside my mind was screaming. Because confirmation would mean dates. Dates would mean truth. And truth would mean Hassan walking away. He wrapped his arms around me again. This is my miracle. He whispered into my hair. My baby. My chest tightened so hard it hurt. I wanted to confess right there. I wanted to fall to my knees and beg for punishment. But another voice inside me spoke louder. If you tell him, you lose him. You lose the house. You lose respect. You lose everything. So I held on to him and whispered the lie that would change my life forever. Yes, I said, my lips against his shoulder. It's yours. Sana didn't hug me when I told her. She didn't gasp, didn't say, oh my God, didn't even pretend to be shocked. She just stared at my face like she was reading a secret I had written on my skin. You actually did it, she said slowly. You told him it's his. I sat on her bed, clutching my purse like it could protect me. What was I supposed to do? He was crying, Sana. Sana crossed her arms. Her nails were perfect, her lipstick sharp. She always looked like she had time to be beautiful, even when the world was burning. You were supposed to think before sleeping with Bilal. My stomach twisted. Don't say it like that. Like what? She asked, lifting one eyebrow. Like the truth. I flinched. I hate myself for it. You know that. She sat beside me, close enough that I could smell her perfume. Listen to me, Ayesha. Men don't forgive this. If Hassan finds out, you'll be thrown out like trash. Her words hit my chest like stones. I know, she said, tapping my forehead lightly. You don't know. You think he'll cry, maybe shout, maybe forgive because he's nice. He won't. His family won't let him. They'll destroy you. I swallowed. So what do? Sana's eyes softened for half a second. You stay quiet. You act like the perfect wife. You give him a baby, and the truth stays buried. It's not his baby. I whispered. She leaned closer. It will be his baby, because you said it is. My throat went dry, and if the dates don't match. Sana smiled like she'd already planned it. Then you adjust the dates. Doctors write what you tell them half the time. You're overthinking. I stared at her. That's fraud. She shrugged. It's survival. Survival. That word sounded holy in her mouth. Like lying was not a sin, but a shield. I left Sana's house with my head spinning. At home, Hassan was in the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, making tea. When he saw me, his whole face lit up like I was the sun. There you are, he said. I was waiting. For what? He pulled out a chair for me. Sit, I made ginger tea. It's good for nausea. I sat slowly. You didn't have to. I want to, he said simply, placing the cup in front of me. From now on, you and the baby come first. The baby. Every time he said it, my guilt moved inside me like something alive. He sat across from me and reached for my hand. I've been thinking. I forced a smile. That's dangerous. He laughed. No, listen. I want to take you to the best doctor, and I want to tell Amy tonight. My fingers tightened around the cup. Hassan, I know you said wait. He interrupted gently, but she deserves to know. She's been praying for this. As if someone had summoned her, Farah entered the kitchen with her scarf pinned perfectly and her eyes already sharp. What deserves to know? She asked. Hassan stood. Ami Ayesha is pregnant. Farah froze. For a moment, her face went blank. Then she placed her hand on her chest. Ya Allah. She rushed to me, grabbed my face, and kissed my forehead. My son will finally be a father. I wanted to pull away, but she held me like I belonged to her now. She looked at my stomach like it was gold. We will do everything properly. I will start preparing. I will tell your father-in-law. We will announce it. I nodded, but my skin felt tight, like I was wearing someone else's life. That night, Sana messaged me. Sana, did you tell him? Me, no. Sana, good, remember. If this comes out, you're finished. I stared at the words until my eyes burned. I realized something then. Sana wasn't just my friend anymore. She was the only person holding my secret. And anyone who holds your secret holds you too. Hassan became a different man after that day. He started waking up early, even before Fajr, like he had some secret energy inside him. He would pray, then sit on the prayer mat and whisper du'as with his palms raised. Sometimes I stood in the doorway watching him, feeling like a thief watching a saint. One morning, he looked up and caught me staring. Come here, he said softly. I walked toward him slowly. What? He patted the floor beside him. Sit. I sat, my knees weak. He placed his hand on my head gently. Ya Allah, protect my wife and my child, he whispered. My eyes stung. I wanted to grab his wrist and scream, stop praying for a lie. Instead I whispered, Amin. Later that day, he came home with a small shopping bag. What's that? I asked, trying to sound normal. He smiled like a boy. Close your eyes. Hassan, close them. He insisted. I did. I heard the rustle of plastic. Then he placed something in my hands, open. I opened my eyes and saw tiny baby socks, blue and white. So small they looked unreal. My breath caught. Why did you buy this? Because I couldn't stop myself, he said, laughing. I saw them and thought, that's my baby. My heart clenched. It could be a girl. He shrugged. Then I'll buy pink too. I'll buy everything. I forced a smile, but my stomach turned. I couldn't even enjoy his happiness. It felt like watching someone build a house on sand. That night he sat beside me in bed. his hand resting on my belly like he could already feel the baby. "Do you think he can hear me?" he asked. I stared at the ceiling. "It's early." Hassan leaned closer. "Still, I want him to know my voice." He spoke softly to my stomach. "Listen, little one. I'm your father. I'm going to protect you, no matter what." My throat burned. I turned my face away so he wouldn't see my tears. He noticed anyway. "Ayesha." I wiped quickly. Hormones. He kissed my cheek. "I'll be the best father. I promise." That was the moment I almost confessed. I sat up, my hands shaking. "Hassan, I need to tell you something." He looked at me with full attention. "What is it?" My mouth opened, but the words didn't come. I imagined his face changing. I imagined Farah's slap. I imagined being thrown out with my clothes in a bag. I swallowed. "I'm scared." Hassan pulled me into his arms. "Don't be. I'm here." I closed my eyes, and the confession died in my throat. 2 days later, my phone buzzed with a number I hadn't seen in months. Bilal. My fingers went cold. I stared at the screen until it stopped ringing. Then it buzzed again, this time a message. "Bilal, we need to talk." My chest tightened. I typed back fast. "Me, don't message me. Ever, Bilal, relax. I'm not here for romance." "Me, then why?" "Bilal, because you're pregnant." I froze. My hands shook as I wrote. "How do you know?" His reply came instantly. "Bilal, Sana told me." My vision blurred. Sana, of course. My best friend, who claimed she was protecting me. I called Bilal, my voice trembling. "What do you want?" He chuckled like my fear was entertainment. "Still dramatic, Ayesha. Answer me. I want what's mine." He said casually. "My life isn't yours. The baby is," he replied. "And if your husband thinks it's his wow, that's cute." I felt dizzy. "You're sick." Bilal sighed. "Look, I don't want a child, but I don't want problems either. So you'll pay me." "Pay you?" I whispered. "Yes," he said, "or I'll tell Hassan everything. I'll send screenshots, voice notes, I have proof." My stomach dropped. "You wouldn't." "I would," Bilal said, "because unlike your husband, I don't love you. I don't owe you mercy." I hung up, my whole body shaking. Hassan walked in then, smiling. Who was that? I forced my lips to move. Wrong number. He studied my face. "You're pale, are you okay?" I smiled with tears burning behind my eyes. "It's just pregnancy." But inside, I knew the truth. The lie wasn't staying small. It was growing, and it was coming for me. Sana acted surprised when I stormed into her room. "What happened?" she asked, blinking innocently. "Why do you look like you saw a ghost?" I held up my phone. "Why did you tell Bilal I'm pregnant?" Her face didn't change, but her eyes sharpened. "I didn't. Don't lie to me," I snapped. "He said you told him." Sana sighed like I was annoying her. "Okay, maybe I hinted. But Ayesha, he had a right to know." "He has no right," I hissed. "He's blackmailing me." That made her sit up straighter. "What? He wants money," I said, voice breaking. "He said he'll tell Hassan. He said he has screenshots." Sana leaned back thinking, too calm, too controlled. "How much? I don't know yet." She waved her hand, "Then block him." I tried. I cried. "He keeps calling from new numbers." Sana reached for my phone. "Give it." I hesitated. She snatched it anyway and typed fast. "There. Blocked." My heart was pounding. "That won't stop him." Sana smiled. "It will. I have connections." I stared at her. "What does that mean?" "It means," she said slowly, "Bilal won't bother you if he knows you're not alone." "How will he know?" Sana's eyes flickered. "Don't worry." I left her house feeling worse than before. At home, Farah was in the living room with a notebook and a pen like she was planning a wedding. She looked up. "Ayesha, come." I forced a smile. "Yes, Amy." She patted the sofa beside her. "Sit. We need to talk about the baby." My throat tightened. "Okay." She started listing things like commands, doctor appointments, vitamins, diet, no outside food, no unnecessary walking, and we will do a proper announcement in the family group. I nodded, pretending to listen. Farah suddenly narrowed her eyes. Which month are you in exactly? I froze. I think too. You think, she repeated sharply. A mother knows. I'm still confirming, I said quickly. She leaned closer. Which doctor did you see? I haven't yet. Farah's lips tightened. Strange. Hassan said you were acting nervous. My hands turned cold. Nervous? She stared at me like she was searching for dirt under my nails. You're hiding something. No, I said too fast. Farah sat back. Good, because if there is any shame, I will not tolerate it. That night I couldn't sleep. I walked to the kitchen for water and heard voices from the balcony. Sana's voice. My heart stopped. I moved closer, barefoot, silent. I told you, Sana said on the phone, her tone low. Just send one screenshot. One is enough. My blood turned to ice. A man laughed softly on the other end. Bilal, you're evil, he said. Sana chuckled. I'm practical. I covered my mouth, shaking. Then Sana said the words that destroyed me. She thinks I'm helping her, but she deserves it. I stumbled back, my cup slipping from my hand. It hit the floor with a sharp crack. The balcony door opened. Sana stepped inside, her eyes wide. Ayesha. I stared at her, trembling. What are you doing here? Sana's face changed fast. She smiled. I came to check on you. I pointed at her. You were talking to him. She laughed lightly. You're paranoid. Before I could answer, Hassan entered the kitchen. He looked at the broken glass, then at me, then at Sana. What's going on? I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. Hassan's phone buzzed. He checked it, and his face went still. Too still. He didn't show me the screen. He just looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. Ayesha, he said quietly, is there something you're hiding? My legs felt weak. Then he held out his hand. Give me your phone. My phone felt like a bomb in my hand. Hassan's palm was open, waiting, but his eyes were no longer warm. They were calm in a way that terrified me. Like the storm had already passed, and only destruction remained. Hassan, my voice cracked. Why do you need it? He didn't blink. Give it to me. Sana shifted behind him. Hassan, don't stress her. She's pregnant. He turned his head slightly, not even looking at her fully. Stay out of this. My fingers tightened around the phone. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. If I gave it to him, everything would end. If I didn't, everything would end anyway. I forced a laugh that sounded like a sob. You're acting crazy. Hassan's jaw clenched. Crazy is what I'm reading right now. He stepped closer. Ayesha, I asked you a question. Is there something you're hiding? No, I whispered. He reached for the phone. I pulled it back. His eyes flashed. Don't do that. I started shaking. It's private. Private, he repeated, like the word offended him. We are husband and wife. What is private? Sana cleared her throat. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. Hassan snapped. I said stay out. Sana went quiet, but I saw the tiny smile she tried to hide. Hassan looked back at me. Give me your phone, Ayesha. Right now. I tried one last lie. Someone is trying to ruin us. Maybe they edited something. Maybe it's fake. Then let me see, he said. If it's fake, I'll burn the world for you. His words stabbed me, because he meant them. He would have fought for me if I had been innocent. I slowly placed the phone in his hand. The moment his fingers closed around it, I felt like I had handed him my heart. He opened it. His thumb moved fast, too familiar with my screen. He didn't need long. His face changed in small steps, confusion, then anger, then something worse. Disgust. What is this? He asked, voice low. I leaned forward, pretending to look. I don't know. He turned the screen toward me. A screenshot. My old chat with Bilal. Bilal, I still remember that night. Me, stop. I'm married. Bilal, but you weren't acting married when you were with me. My throat closed. Hassan, listen. He swiped again. Another screenshot. Another line. My voice note. My laugh. He looked at me like I was a stranger. Tell me this isn't you. It is, I whispered. Hassan's hand trembled slightly. but his voice stayed controlled. When I opened my mouth and no words came out, when, he repeated louder, I shook my head, crying. It was a mistake. His eyes narrowed. A mistake is forgetting salt in food. This is betrayal. I grabbed his arm. Please, please don't do this. He pulled away like my touch burned him. Don't touch me. That sentence hurt more than a slap. I sobbed. I was lonely. You were distant. We were fighting. Don't, he warned. Don't blame me. I fell to my knees. I'm sorry. I swear I'm sorry. Hassan stepped back, breathing hard. How long? It was one night. I cried. Only one night. He stared at me, his eyes wet now, but the tears didn't fall. One night is enough. Then his voice dropped to a whisper. Is the baby mine? The room went silent. Even Sana stopped breathing. I looked up at him, and the truth sat on my tongue like poison. I wanted to lie again. I wanted to say yes and keep the fantasy alive. But Hassan's eyes were begging. Not for comfort, for truth. My lips parted, but nothing came out. That was my answer. Hassan stumbled back like I had hit him. He sat on the chair, staring at the floor, his shoulders shaking once, twice, like his body couldn't carry his pain. I crawled toward him. Hassan, don't, he said, voice broken. Please don't. The kitchen door slammed open. Farah, what is happening? She demanded, eyes sharp. Why is there shouting? Hassan didn't speak. He just stared ahead like he had died. I tried to stand, wiping my face. Ammi, it's... Farah saw the phone in Hassan's hand. She snatched it, her eyes scanned the screenshots, and her face twisted with rage. Shameless, she screamed, pointing at me. You filthy girl. Ammi, please. She stepped forward like she wanted to hit me. You brought poison into my house, Mr. Qasim entered behind her, his voice cold. What poison? Farah shoved the phone toward him. Look at her. He read silently. His expression didn't change, but the air in the room turned heavy. He looked at me once. This child will not carry our name. I started crying harder. Uncle, please. Silence. He snapped. Hassan finally stood, slowly, like every movement hurt. He looked at me with eyes that used to love me. Now they only held disappointment. I trusted you. He whispered. I reached for him. I'm still me. No, he said, stepping back. The woman I married would never do this. He turned toward the hallway, his voice shaking but firm. I want a DNA test, and in that moment I knew my marriage didn't end with divorce papers. It ended right there, when Hassan chose truth over me. After that night, I stopped feeling like a wife. I felt like a criminal waiting for punishment. Hassan moved into the guest room without a word. He didn't slam doors. He didn't curse. He didn't even look at me unless he had to. That silence was worse than shouting, because it told me he had already left me in his heart. At breakfast, Farah would place food on the table like she was feeding a stranger. Eat, she'd say coldly. The baby needs it. Not my baby, not your baby, just the baby. Like even the child was a problem now. One afternoon, I stood outside Hassan's door and knocked softly. Hassan, can we talk? His voice came from inside, flat. There's nothing to talk about. I'm still carrying a baby. I whispered, I'm still your wife. The door opened just a little. Hassan's eyes were red, but dry. Don't use that word. What word? Wife, he said. Don't. My chest tightened. So you're really doing this? Hassan stared at me. You did this. I flinched like he slapped me. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't change blood, he replied. I tried to step closer. He stepped back. Please. I begged, let me explain. Hassan's voice cracked for the first time. Explain what? Explain how you looked me in the eyes and lied. Explain how you let my mother pray for a child that isn't mine. Tears spilled down my face. I was scared. He laughed bitterly. And I wasn't. I spent 2 years thinking something was wrong with me. I blamed myself. I watched you cry every month, and now I find out you were carrying another man's child. I covered my mouth, sobbing. Hassan looked away, swallowing hard. DNA test. That's it. He shut the door. I slid down the wall and sat on the floor, holding my stomach like I could protect the baby from the world. The next day, I called Advocate Rita. She was an old college friend who had become a lawyer, and I trusted her more than anyone, more than Sana, more than myself. Ayesha, she said gently, tell me the truth. I whispered, it's not Hassan's. There was a pause. Then her voice turned serious. Then stop lying. The court will destroy you if you keep pretending. I don't want court, I cried. I want my marriage, Rita sighed. Marriage is built on trust. You burned that building yourself. Her words hurt because they were true. That evening I tried calling Sana again. 1 ring, 2, then voicemail. I sent her a message. Me, pick up. Please, I need you. No reply. I tried again. Me, you promised you'd help me. Still nothing. It hit me like a punch. Sana wasn't protecting me anymore. She was gone because the secret was now afire, and she didn't want to burn with it. When my labor pains started, Farah didn't comfort me. She just called the driver and said, take her to the hospital. Hassan came too, but he stayed distant, like I was someone else's responsibility. In the hospital room, I cried and screamed, and when the nurse finally placed my baby in my arms, the world went quiet. He was so small, so warm. His tiny fingers wrapped around mine like he trusted me completely. I whispered, Zain. Hassan stood near the door, stiff. Come, I said, voice shaking. Please hold him. Hassan's eyes flickered to the baby, then away. I can't. That broke me. A week later, the DNA test happened. No drama, no shouting, just papers, signatures, and silence. When the report arrived, Hassan didn't open it in front of me. He opened it beside his lawyer. I watched his face while he read. He didn't cry. He didn't shout. He just looked up at me and said 2 words that ended everything. Not mine. And in that moment, I understood. DNA doesn't care about tears. It only tells the truth. The courtroom smelled of cold metal and old wood, and I hated every second of it. I walked in like a ghost, dragging my heart behind me. Hassan sat at one table, quiet and composed, his lawyer beside him. Across the room, Advocate Nadim looked at me like he could see through every lie I had ever told. Sit, the judge said, not looking at me personally, but his eyes carried judgment anyway. I obeyed. Nadim began first, calm, precise, surgical. Your Honor, the defendant deliberately misled my client about the paternity of her child. She created false evidence and manipulated everyone around her, including family members, to maintain her deception. I opened my mouth to explain, but my voice faltered. My throat was dry, and tears threatened to fall. Planned deception, Nadim continued, a calculated lie to secure personal gain. The defendant's actions are not the result of an error or emotional mistake. They are intentional and malicious. I bit my lip, shaking my head, whispering, it wasn't supposed to be like this. Hassan didn't look at me. His expression was neutral, but I knew he was listening. Every word cut deeper because it came from someone who would never forgive. Nadim handed the judge documents, medical records, witness statements, screenshots. The timeline clearly shows the defendant knew the truth, but chose to lie repeatedly. I wanted to scream. It wasn't my fault. I whispered to myself, hoping no one would hear. The judge peered at me over his glasses. Do you have anything to say for yourself, Ms. Ayesha? I opened my mouth. My voice cracked. I made a mistake. The judge's eyes narrowed. You call this a mistake? Do you realize your actions have consequences beyond your own feelings? Farah's face was red. She whispered to her husband, shameless, just like I said. I tried to speak again. Billahi. The judge held up a hand. Blaming others does not absolve you. You chose to lie. You chose deception. The law holds you accountable. Hassan's mother stood suddenly. The baby must be ours, for the family honor. Your Honor, Nadim interrupted. The child is not Hassan's. Custody claims from the mother's side cannot be granted under these circumstances. I shrank in my chair. Everything I had, my marriage, my home, my dignity was disappearing piece by piece. Hassan didn't look at me once. His pen scratched papers in front of him. He didn't need to shout. His calm was more punishing than screams. His silence told me everything. He had already chosen to leave me behind. The judge nodded. The court rules in favor of Mr. Hassan Qasim regarding separation of finances and the nullification of spousal claims. Ms. Ayesha, you are not entitled to any property, nor shall you interfere with Mr. Qasim or his family. I felt my chest tighten. No home, no support, no dignity. I wanted to collapse, but I had to stand for Zain. The final blow came when Hassan stood and addressed the judge. I request a permanent injunction preventing Ms. Ayesha from contacting me, directly or indirectly. The room fell silent. I sank into my chair, holding Zain close. He stirred in my arms, unaware of the storm around him. I whispered softly, I'll protect you. I'll survive this, even if I lose everything else. The judge's gavel hit hard against the desk. The sound was final. My life had been stripped bare in one morning of truth, lies, and judgment. I had thought a lie could save me, but it had only buried me alive. As we left the courtroom, I tried to look at Hassan. He didn't meet my eyes. His face was expressionless, but the hurt in his silence screamed louder than any words. Outside, Sana didn't call. Bilal didn't answer. The world I had leaned on, the lies I had trusted to keep me safe, had vanished. I held Zain tighter. It's just us now, I whispered, the weight of reality pressing down like stones on my chest. And for the first time, I truly understood. Love can die in court, and nothing, not even tears, can bring it back. The motel smelled like bleach and sadness. I dragged my bag behind me, holding Zain in my arms. His tiny fingers curled around mine, and I whispered, It's okay, baby. Mama's here. But it wasn't okay. My phone buzzed constantly, hate messages, judgmental texts, news articles someone had shared online. Look at the woman who lied. One read, How could she do this? Another, She's a criminal. She doesn't deserve anything. I tried not to read them, but curiosity and fear burned through me. I couldn't stop. My manager called that afternoon. Ayesha, she said, voice strained, we've decided your employment isn't tenable. Your reputation, the court, the news, it's affecting the office. I swallowed hard. You're firing me. Yes, I'm sorry. I hung up and let myself collapse on the floor. Zain whimpered. I rocked him in my arms. Mama's sorry, baby. I whispered. Sana didn't answer her phone. Bilal blocked me. I was completely alone. The walls of the motel room were thin. I could hear couples laughing down the hall, people living lives that weren't mine anymore. I stared at the peeling wallpaper and realized I didn't even recognize myself. I sat on the floor, Zain in my lap, and for the first time, I didn't blame anyone but me. Every step I had taken, every lie I had told, every choice I had made, it led to this small, cold room where the world outside didn't want me. I remembered Hassan, his calm face, his disappointment, the way he didn't shout, the way he walked away like my life had no meaning to him. My chest ached. I wanted to call him, to explain, to beg. But even if I did, he wouldn't answer. He didn't want me anymore. I whispered to Zain, I'm sorry, my love. I tried. Mama tried. I remembered the moments before the lie, the smiles, the small talks, the tea he made, the tiny socks he bought. I felt a sharp pain in my stomach. Those memories were torture. They were a life I could never go back to. The night stretched on. I counted the hours while Zain slept on my chest, his breathing small and soft. For a brief moment, I let myself imagine a different life, a life where I had been honest, where the mistakes never happened. But reality hit harder. The court papers, the eviction, the blocked numbers, the online humiliation. All of it pressed down on me like stones. I felt like I had nothing. I looked at Zane and whispered, "Mama's broken, but you'll survive. We'll survive, somehow." I touched my face in the mirror. The woman staring back wasn't the Ayesha who married Hassan. She wasn't the confident, clever woman who had relied on friends, on lies, on love. She was smaller, fragile, burned by her own choices, but for the first time, I didn't cry for Hassan or for the life I lost. I cried for the person I had become and the person I had to find inside this wreckage. I whispered again, softly, so only Zane could hear. "I did this, I built this fire, and now I'm burning in it. But we'll survive, baby, we'll survive." I held him close, feeling the warmth of his little body. For the first time, I accepted it. Everything was gone, even my name, but I still had him, and maybe, just maybe, that was enough to start over. I couldn't stay broken forever. After a week in that motel, I forced myself up. Zane needed me, not just my body, but my mind, my will, my strength. I sold my jewelry, every necklace, every ring that reminded me of Hassan or my old life, and started taking odd cleaning jobs. The pay was small, the hours long, but every coin I earned reminded me I was still alive. I could still fight. One afternoon, my phone rang. Advocate Rita's name flashed on the screen. My heart skipped. "Ayesha," she said, her voice low but steady. "I have news about Sana." "What happened?" I asked, clutching Zane to my chest. "She's been caught in another scandal. Turns out she was the one who sent the first screenshot to Hassan. It wasn't Bilal, it was her, out of jealousy. She wanted everything he had, status, family. His life." My blood ran cold. Rage surged through me like fire. Every lie, every manipulation she had ever done to me suddenly made sense. The whispers, the sudden favors, her calm advice. It was all a trap. I wanted to scream, to run to her, to hit her. I found her at a cafe. She didn't see me at first, busy chatting with a man I didn't know. When she noticed me, her smile froze. "Ayesha, what are you—" "Cut the act," I said, stepping closer, Zane strapped safely in the stroller. "You sent him the screenshots, didn't you?" She blinked, then laughed. "I don't know what you mean. I didn't move." "Don't lie. I know. You were jealous. You wanted to ruin me." Her face twisted, but she shrugged. "Fine. Yes, you didn't deserve him. He deserved better." I felt the urge to slap her, to let my anger explode. But instead, I pulled out my phone and pressed record. "Say it again," I said quietly. "You didn't deserve him," she repeated, pride flashing in her eyes. "I did you a favor. Someone like you should never have him." I smiled, a cold, terrible smile. "I'm going to send this." She froze. "No, Ayesha, you can't." I didn't answer. I sent the video to Hassan's lawyer first, then forwarded it to every person who had humiliated me online, every news account, every social media group that had judged me. Her phone buzzed violently. I saw her hands shake. "Delete it, delete it." I didn't. Within hours, her engagement broke. Her family turned against her. She had no shield anymore. She begged me through texts, but I ignored them. I watched from a distance as she fell apart, and I realized something strange. I didn't feel satisfaction, not entirely. What I felt was relief. The power was mine again. My life wasn't perfect. I hadn't fixed everything. But I wasn't completely at the mercy of someone else anymore. Zane stirred in his stroller. I kissed his forehead. "We did it, baby," I whispered. "We survived her. We survived everything. I didn't need revenge to make me happy. I needed it to remind me that I could stand, that I could protect myself." Later, as I walked home under the fading sunset, I felt a flicker of hope. Life had stripped me bare, humiliated me, and left me alone with my child, but I was no longer the same person who had lied out of fear. I had learned to fight without cruelty, to survive without betrayal, and for the first time, I felt the possibility of a future, not perfect, not easy, but mine. I whispered to Zane, who was sleeping in the stroller, "We're free, baby. Free from them. Free from the past, and we're going to be okay." The streets were quiet. My steps were steady. I knew the world hadn't forgiven me. I hadn't forgiven myself entirely. But the storm that had threatened to destroy us was finally behind me. And I could finally breathe. Months passed. The motel room was long gone. We rented a small, sunlit apartment. Zane had a tiny bed, a few colorful toys, and a crib that smelled faintly of laundry soap. I spent my mornings taking online classes, afternoons at a local daycare, and evenings planning meals, homework, and bedtime stories. Life was quiet, and for the first time I began to feel alive again. The shame never fully left. People on social media still whispered, still judged. Some called me a liar, others a criminal. I couldn't erase the past, but I could build something new. I was learning to survive on my own, to feed myself, to care for Zane, to feel human again. I wasn't happy yet, but I could feel strength growing inside me, little by little. One afternoon, as I was closing up the daycare, I heard a voice outside. "Ayesha?" I froze. Hassan. He looked different, older, tired, like the weight of the past months had etched lines into his face. His eyes didn't carry anger, not anymore. Only something softer, something heavy with sadness. I swallowed hard. "Hassan," he hesitated. I saw Sana's confession. I felt my stomach drop. "You did, yes," he said quietly. I realized I wasn't the only villain in this story. I nodded. It wasn't just me. He looked at me, and for the first time since everything began, I saw hesitation, uncertainty in his gaze. "I can't trust you again," he admitted, not fully, "but I understand now. She set us up." The words hit like cold water. It hurt, but it was fair. He didn't owe me forgiveness. I took a deep breath. "You deserved better," I said softly. The words had been trapped inside me for years. I needed to say them, not for him, but for me. Hassan's lips pressed into a thin line. He looked at Zane, who was playing quietly nearby. His eyes softened, just a little. "I hope he grows up with truth," he said. I nodded, holding back tears. "He will, I promise." He gave a small, sad smile and turned away. Before leaving, he glanced once more at Zane. There was no hate in his eyes, only a fleeting sadness. The door closed. Silence. I sank to the floor, holding Zane in my arms. He looked up at me, sleepy eyes wide and trusting. "Mama," he whispered. "Yes, baby," I said, stroking his hair. "Mama's here." For the first time, the tears I cried weren't of shame or regret or fear. They were tears of release, tears of survival, tears of growth. I whispered to myself, "I lied to survive, but now I'll live by truth." The days that followed were not easy. I worked hard, I studied hard, and I learned what it meant to create a life without leaning on lies, without relying on anyone else to save me. Every small victory, a clean paycheck, a smile from a child at the daycare, Zane learning his first words, was a brick in the foundation of my new life. I made new friends, people who didn't know my past and didn't need to, people who accepted me as I was, not as I had been. And slowly, I began to recognize the woman in the mirror. She was not the same girl who had trembled in front of Hassan, who had begged for forgiveness, who had been betrayed by the world she trusted. She was stronger, fierce not because of anger, but because of resilience. One evening, I tucked Zane into bed, kissed his forehead, and whispered, "Mama's proud of you. We're going to be okay." I stepped back, looking around our small apartment, quiet, simple, safe. I had lost everything, love, trust, home, reputation, but I had found myself, and that was worth more than anything I had ever lost. I whispered into the empty room, softly, almost like a prayer, "I survived. I survived, and now I live." For the first time in years, I believed it.